Dream is the color of silence. Don't try to say from me, 'cause I try. Come down from where you are and keep me. Pick me up again. I'm sitting. It's the color of my mind. Think you can save me from myself. I try.
Show me all your innocence. I'm holding up for one last time. We seem so much better then. I just left for far too long. I couldn't hold you close. I couldn't let you go. Was hot as hell back home. Where you go? It's frozen up and body someone like you, someone like you. Stay tonight to hold that side, come back to me. Show me all your innocence. I'm holding up for one last time. We seem so much better then. I just left for far too long. I couldn't hold you close. I couldn't let you go. Was hot as hell back home. Where you go? Take them underwater, deeper than the waves, floating like a feather through another day, another day, another day. Beneath the waves, I find you in my heart, you in my heart.
Hey, it's Rosalia. Check out my album El Mal Querer in the new YouTube Music app.
Suck it up like stuff, you know that. Someone's got better stuff than your throw cash. Tell them I don't give a fuck, make my own path. I don't need no handouts on my own man. Gotta get it, I'll get it in advance, yeah. Got a gun, she'll get it, she bad, yeah. Man, I only get down with the best of. I'ma leave to come place with the rest of. I won't ever stop now, I'ma get it now. Have my head face down in the fucking ground. Rock bottom I found, but I'm back now. Bitch, better back down or you'll fucking drown. I don't wanna hear it now, this is my town. I'ma be the one found at the top now. Screaming out so loud to the whole crowd. Did I make you not fall down? I know I need you here, and I just might lie away in fear, and let time pass by. No, I can't see clear, think I'm lost inside, and the end is near. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. Oh, yeah. It's just not fair. Heart attack with a bless, not okay. Ripped it out of the chest from the cocaine. I don't wanna get left, no way. Man, I wanna be the best in my domain. Peace of mind never coming in my head, yeah. If I'm first, then I'm gonna end up dead, yeah. I ain't here to fuck around and make friends, yeah. I'm here to put all of my team as a bench, yeah. And all I see is that you're running from your past, yeah. Just like a dream can't seem to make yourself go fast, yeah. You keep on going, but you're falling, you're falling. Cause now or never, push it off. I'm not right, no, I need you here, and I just might lie wide awake in fear, and let time pass by. No, I can't see clear, think I'm lost inside, and the end is near. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. Oh, yeah. It's just not fair. Merry Christmas, yeah. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Coming from the facts, I just put this on your wish list. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Whipping in a foreign Santa, turn it to a litmus. Got me feeling down, cause my stocking full of cold, yeah. Had a bad year, man, I'm sick of getting old, yeah. Wanna stay a kid, and I love it when it's cold, yeah. It's that time of year, I can act 10 years old, yeah. I know that this year he finna get me. I know Santa coming down my chimney. I hope that he isn't mad about me. This year I've been messing up my kidneys, yeah. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Coming from the facts, I just put this on your wish list. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Whipping in a foreign Santa, turn it to a litmus. I'll be okay, left some cookies on a plate. Think the milk's a little late, past the expiration date, but I think I'll be okay. Homie switching out my name from the naughty and the saint to the nice side of the page, yeah. I made some mistakes that you won't like, yeah. But you know I still wanna get a bike, yeah. And you know I want that skin on for night, yeah. Made a list and I ain't never check it twice, yeah.
Hey, it's Rosalia. Check out my album El Mal Querer in the new YouTube Music app.
What am I doing here? I'm longing for you, dear. If we could look to the stars, maybe life would be so hard. When we're this close to another ending, but too far from the start. When we're this close to another story, but we drifted apart. Oh, I think am I going now? Will our paths cross somehow? You were always by my side. I hope one day our hearts collide. When this world to an end, not too far from the start. When this world to an end, story will be drifting apart. I lost my way.
Hey, Mango Shine, what's going on, Mark?
You could think that I'm a freak when I'm talking to myself, but it's like I was too weak to be someone else. You could think that
How you guys doing?
when I'm singing all alone, but it's like I couldn't see straight on my own.
Slow day, yeah. What's going on with your dogs?
And when I feel like I'm just dead, and when I call, it comes again.
They get out or something?
And now I see it's in my head.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
Yeah. There's something that saves me all the time. In myself.
Is this music too loud?
I'm breaking down, whispering my head from I don't know where. Whisper in my head when I've got something to share. When I'm unable to speak, it's coming from somebody else. Now I know it is just stronger than myself. That's the way I have to live. Not fall down every night. In the end, I'm not alone, and that's my life. And when I fall, it starts again. And when I feel like I'm just dead, and when I go, it comes again. And now I see it's in my head.
Yeah, I'm in Michigan. I think Mark's in Michigan.
There's something that sees me all the time in myself. Yeah. It's appears when I'm breaking down. Whisper in my head, coming from I don't know where. Like a whisper in my head, when I've got something to say. You could think that I'm a freak when I'm talking to myself, but it's like I was too weak to be someone else. You could think that I'm a creep when I'm singing all alone, but it's like I couldn't see straight on my own. Hey, yeah. There's something that sees me all the time in myself. Yeah. It's up tears when I'm breaking down. Whisper in my head from out of nowhere. Whisper in my head when I've got something to share.
Hi, this is Josh from 21 Pilots, listening to our new album, Trench, featuring My Blonde, now on the YouTube Music app.
I think they just find me based on a lot of the interviews I did with the women down on 4th Street. I think that's how quite a few started. And then just random, searches.
What the hell I'm feeling, all that I know is my heart, she's stealing. Where we gonna go? Off to the crib now, feeling so low, but I like it when I'm pinned down. Yeah. Sometimes I feel so broken.
No real method to the madness. Look.
Ain't nobody slowing me down. Yeah, ain't nobody stopping me now. Yeah, distractions help me stay sane, but girl, you drive me insane. I don't wanna feel pain now. Yeah, so baby, come on, let's say, hey, just look the other way. I don't care what they say. We can do it all, take away my sadness. We can do it all, venture into blackness. Hey, just look the other way. I don't care what they say. We can do it all, take away my sadness. We can do it all, venture into blackness. You a bad chick, you a bad chick. I'm about it, an addict, I'm an addict. Please allow it. I just wanna feel free for a day though. I just wanna feel the skin on the legs, the chapstick on the chapped lips. Got me crowded, let's practice. You an actress, heart's pounding. I just wanna move that body like some play though. Tell me, baby girl, if you wanna play though. Hey, baby, come through, do what you do. Make that body move, yeah. I just wanna see you drop down with it, pick it up, drop top, pop, run the town with it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good. I love Detroit. Love driving.
Safety, make it up, buttercup, get you tasty. I test my luck, know what's up, thick like gravy. I say, hey, just look the other way. I don't care what they say. We can do it all, take away my sadness. We can do it all, venture into blackness. Hey, just look the other way. I don't care what they say. We can do it all, take away my sadness. We can do it all, venture into blackness. I've been running away from my darkest desire, but I always end up here, being a liar. I beg you to stay, just for a while, just for a while. We back to but the scene is so can we get to what we have? Can we just find what we said? I'm making mistakes, we've been like fire. Can we this race? I'm way too tired. You lay your head on my shoulder and you say things won't get easier.
Yeah, you never know on these live chats. Sometimes a lot of people, sometimes not very many. Just log on and find out.
It's okay. It's okay.
Hey, it's Rosalia. Check out my album El Mal Querer in the new YouTube Music app.
What's faces between your eyes? Cause your heart's a turning light. You threw me under the bullet's eyes. See the leaves came under my sleeves. But it's looking better, make me see. Oh, there's gold in the little streets. Oh, my chest refuses to let me breathe. Oh, but little did I know, yeah, little did I know. I'm better off, yeah. Without you, I'm better off. Oh, without you, I'm better off. Oh, I'm better. I'm better.
Oh, good. Welcome, Mango Shine. You had a lot of interesting comments. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's slow a lot, and I think the most I ever had was like 20 or something like that. It's kind of slow every night because unless you have like a general chat scheduled for the same thing, it's pretty low odds if you just log on when you feel like it. Sometimes I log on, there's no one, I just log right off. Just varies. Yeah, I think that happens a lot, Mark. It's just like I got you and maybe 5 or 6 other people to come on. Hey, Sharon, how are you? Those homeless interviews aren't quite as easy as you think. That area has died down quite a bit. All the party stores have been wiped out. There's only one store left that's a couple blocks over and really kind of out of the area where those women are at. That's why. Although I can't blame it entirely on that because I've been down there before, stayed 3 days and haven't run into one girl. The area is kind of changing. I think the odds will probably get worse, but you never know. It's a multitude of factors. if a sting had happened in the area for a while, weather, if they're in the can already, they were murdered or died. You never know what you're going to get until you get down there. But I'd do them every day if I could. Yeah, it is, Mark. You're right. Yeah, thanks, Sharon. It's really not that big a deal. I noticed that if I'm really tired, I don't feel like doing them. I try and do them right when I get down there, if it's possible. It's funny. I'm comfortable in that area. There are other places I could go, like Michigan Avenue or up on 8 Mile. But as crazy as it sounds, it's just like a different kind of person. I always felt, I don't know, weirdly at home down there in Delray and Southwest Detroit. Mango Shine, not where I go. I mean, I don't really think so. I mean, if you get, I mean, I was just a guy living in the suburbs for years, and you kind of buy into this folklore. Statistically, Detroit's a dangerous city, but if you look at the violent crimes that occurred, it's still very small, and almost always it's related to drug deals, trafficking, whatever. I'm not saying there isn't a murder here and there, but anywhere in the country, there aren't too many people other than a serial killer just going around murdering people for the hell of it. So I understand that the odds are pretty low. Yeah, Gilbert's done a lot, but he's also down there and not paying his fair share. So it depends on how you look at it. Yeah, actually, I used to go to the horror houses in Detroit when I was 18 in Cass Corridor, Anderson's Gardens, and the Willis Show Bar. My dad told me how to get there. Dear old dad, how I miss him. The places we used to go were on Willis and 3rd. Yeah, I don't go around that area too much because it is being gentrified and it's just not as interesting as it used to be. Yeah, you know, I think that too, Sharon. Sometimes why I'm making them. I mean, I watch my own videos, if you can believe it. Just kind of sums it up. A yard sale. Because you're getting booted out and you can't afford to go anywhere else. It's sad. All your possessions in your front yard. What type show is that, Mango Shine? Yeah, there is. A lot of desperate people in all the big cities. And it's getting worse.
Walking alone in the middle of the night, you shine bright than a diamond. We were strangers at the start, now we can't be apart. Sitting in the back of the car, listen to hits from the clouds. Memories slowly arrive. I can't stop thinking about you. I can't stop thinking about you. Whenever I'm not with you, it feels like falling down. I can't stop thinking about looking at pictures from the past, want to remember what we had. Haven't found anyone like you, baby. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to figure it out, but my mind is filled with doubt. We're not here by my side. I can't stop thinking about you. Stop thinking about you. You never say never was what they say.
Oh, that's cool.
Pray from my speakers when we lay in bed.
Yeah, I don't really go down those streets because it's just kind of busy anymore.
It's you that I truly adore.
Not me. Nope.
those eyes like it's my fault. I don't even know why I'm surprised you're gone. I know you know that you're wrong for me, better off alone. It's where I should be, But then you come around, my soul is weak, Don't kinda like that you're wrong for me, Why you gotta break me every time I go? All I ever wanted was to call you right now, I'm not sure. I know you know that you're wrong for me, better off alone. It's where I should be, But then you come around, my soul is weak, Don't kinda like that you're wrong for me,
Let's run away from this whole time to where we going. I want to take you somewhere, baby, where it's going. We're young and free, let's take a dip into the ocean. Just come with me and we can fix our hearts as broken. I know you love it when we drive it down the coast, yeah. I'll take you anywhere, just tell me where to go, yeah. Got nothing else but time, so let's go down the show, yeah. The story crossing mine, so let's go down our own, yeah. Grab my hand and we can work on letting go your fear. Grab my hand and I can take you anywhere but here. Let's run away from all our pain and wipe away those tears. And drive us up until you finally start to see so clear. I know, we're just running around, yeah. Let's go, far away from this town, yeah. I won't ever let you down, yeah. So please don't ever.
Yeah, thanks, Lyle. I mean, anybody could do it if you were just down there walking around like I am. I do very little editing and Just turn on the camera and start asking questions. Yeah, Mango Shine, I like it out there in Seattle. You guys ought to go where you live or near where you live and do it. I'd like to watch yours.
Hi, this is Josh from Pilots, listening to our new album, Trend Feature. Now on the YouTube Music
Thank you, Lyle. I get them when I can. That's all right, Mango Shine. You never know. What seems like everyday run-of-the-mill activity for you, it's actually intriguing and interesting for people that live in other places. I bet you if the same women that I interviewed in Detroit lived where you do, you wouldn't be as interesting. Wow, are you talking to Mango Shine or me?
Hey, Rosalia, check out my new song, Mi Nombre, from my album El Marketer, in the new YouTube Music app.
Midnight, wasted, friends all around, faded, like we've got nothing to lose.
Well, you know, I lived in Chicago for 13 years before I lived where I do in northern Michigan now. But I grew up down around Detroit, Flat Rock, a suburb. Where I live, it's basically been the same since I've been coming up here since '78. But in Detroit, I mean, my father worked at Rouge Ford for like 38 years. him and my mother had moved from Connecticut to get a job in the factories because the East Coast really didn't have that many labor jobs. And that was the case with a lot of people that I went to school with in the neighborhoods that pretty much compromised where the majority of the students went to school. I would say in my lifetime, the change of the big three automobile manufacturers, those jobs, they used to be hiring all the time. Plenty of people worked double shifts, worked through their vacation, and that's all changed. The big three, it's actually the big two now. It's just a shell of itself. There are really no good upper middle income any longer unless you're specialized in IT or you're a lawyer or a nurse. So the middle class has really disappeared compared to what it was like when I graduated from high school. It's a service industry now rather than a manufacturing region. It's like night and day. I never thought in my lifetime I'd see this kind of change. In the newspapers as well. We used to get a Sunday news from two different newspapers, the Detroit Free Press and the Detroit News. And on certain weekends, of course, during the holidays, I bet they weighed 5 pounds. You'd have to hold them with both hands. And now it's a joint operating agreement where papers combine to publish the Sunday paper, and it's nothing anymore. Hey, always turtling. How are you? My parents did. My dad did. Mango Shine.
Hey, this is Tyler from 41 Pilots. Check out our new album, Trent, featuring Lloyd Logan. Now on YouTube.
Oh, I know I do what I do to survive, but why do I feel like I'm not alive? I try slow, but that's not how I try. And I hope, but that's not how you try. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's good. Without the story, it's good to be honest. Sometimes it's so hard, sometimes it's cold.
Yeah, you're right. Especially, Mark, after they wiped out all that area, Pole Town, and demolished that church. Yeah, it's interesting, Mango Shine. Yeah, boy. Times have changed. Didn't last that long either, if you think about it.
I see, I need to watch my time. I know how we act is how we define. Why go when we can still be fine? Trying, feels like we can't realign. Sometimes feel like others feel like God. Sometimes we need reason, sometimes we can't trust. Sometimes we really like it on myself. Sometimes we can really put on within ourselves.
Pilots, listening to our new album track featuring now on the YouTube Music app.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, Mark. Yeah, Lyle, we had two famous boats that sailed the Detroit River for years, the Columbia and the St. Clair. And a museum is having the Columbia totally rebuilt in Buffalo, New York. Then they're going to sail it over to the other side of New York and use it as a tour ship. Yeah, Canadian side too. Yeah, it's telling you, man, you can't give these American cars away anymore. It's too much world global competition. Yeah, not very good. I'm friends with the people that own the local Tim Hortons up here. I just had coffee with the owner today. Windsor is really taking a hit, just like Detroit. Ouellette, which is the main drag that runs north and south in downtown Windsor, is just a shell of itself. Empty buildings, crappy businesses, cell phone stores. Used to be jammed with very good restaurants. Not high end, but just good food. Yeah, Windsor's in the tank as well. Yeah, you're exactly right, Lyle. When I was young, I always thought that these politicians were trying to get reelected based on jobs. Well, now that I'm older, I realize that jobs is what it has to do with the economy. But we've even got a bigger problem like that in this country. What's happened is two-thirds of the jobs, new jobs, people in their late 20s and 30s, are contract jobs. You get a 1099, in other words, you're not an actual employee, you're a contractor. They can let you go whenever they feel like it. You don't get any benefits. Another problem is student loans. This student loan issue in the United States is a gigantic problem. Wages are down, jobs don't pay what they used to, and you got these crazy student loans. You can't afford to buy a new home. You can't afford to buy a used home. You can't afford to buy a decent car. All you can do is work a job and full-time job and a part-time job to try to pay back these student loans. You can never get ahead. I'm talking about the majority of the people, not the specialties like the doctors and the lawyers, although lawyers are really in the tank as well. Doctors, not so much. So you've got a huge section of the economy of a generation that can't drive the markets like they were driven in the past. The middle income sector of society has just really suffered. It's never going to get back to like it was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And maybe this is just the beginning of the end or a different change in the lifestyle for the middle class in the United States. But it's bad. I think we're going to get nailed with another recession. And I don't think it's that far off. Yeah, Mango Shine, you're right. I got some friends of mine that own some pretty decent sized companies, not huge, but like, $10 million in sales and stuff like that. One guy owns a paper company in Atlanta, another guy owns a printing company in Dallas. And they've already had you have like lines of credit for different things. Perfect Credit, been customers for 20 years, and their banks in both those areas have cut their limit for their credit. Their line of credits have been cut in half, even though they have a stellar credit rating, their sales are better than ever, and everything's going fine. But none of these financing companies want to get caught holding the bag. Yeah, Michael, it's St. Augustine's great. It's just too damn busy down there this time of year. Yeah, I believe it, Michael. Yeah, I know. And it's so damn busy. I've got a bed and breakfast down in West Palm Beach. And I don't know how old you are, Michael, or you're just trying to do that for a winter, but Florida doesn't pay anything. Florida's just, I think Florida sucks. There used to be a show on TV. It was called Fake or Florida. And if you've lived down there a while, you know the crazy shit that goes down there all the time, especially down around Kissimmee or Miami. And the show would be Fake or Florida. You didn't know if they were making it up or it was in Florida. And you'd have to live in Florida to get it. Oh, Stewart, Florida. I spent a lot of time in there. I had a buddy of mine crash an airplane there. They got that 5 corners and that 6 corner bullshit where everybody runs into each other downtown. Yeah, I'm not telling you anything new. You ought to move up to Grand Rapids or even Detroit. I don't know how old you are, Michael, but Florida, it just doesn't pay very much, even in the bad times or in the good times. So you know where Wellington is, right, Michael? Hey, Mango Shine, when I was growing up, Royal Oak was a dump. That's where all the white trash lived. Yeah, I don't get that either, how people afford these homes. At least you got to give the automobile manufacturers credit. They've figured out a way to get these $50,000 pickup trucks leased. I don't get it. For $189 a month, you can lease a brand new $50,000 pickup. Now, you only get 12,000 miles a year, but still, I don't know who they sell the used ones to. And Michael, you're still young enough to where you could pull a rabbit out of a hat. Yeah, Wellington. My place is actually in Loxahatchee. Loxahatchee. You familiar with that place? When I went down there, it was the Wild West. Oh, okay. Hey, let me tell you, let me give you a perfect example. So I was a flunky in high school, never really got good grades. My dad was a drunk and a factory worker. So I barely made my way through a junior college. I wanted to be a police officer, so they The cops I knew talked me into going and getting a 4-year degree. And all I did was fuck off up there. I didn't do shit. I barely got in and I barely got out. I had like a 2.1 grade point average. And where I was a kid, there was a state trooper that kind of took me under his wing, and he kept telling me I ought to be a private detective. So I didn't know any private detectives. I only knew the shows on TV. And I had a girlfriend up at Michigan State, and that's where back then the state police licensed private detectives. And I ran into him up there one time visiting my girlfriend. And he said, hey, you got to be a PI. There's way more money in it. And he was in the PI section of the state police. He sent me an application. I filled it out. I ended up getting a PI license based on having a degree in criminal justice, which is a joke. So I did that I started that in 81. I sold that in 91 for $1,200,000, which is okay money, but it really isn't enough money to quit working. I moved down to Loxahatchee. I bought 20 acres across from Wellington, and I built a brand new bed and breakfast. And in the meantime, to supplement my income, I bred dromedary camels, the single hump, and tropical birds. I had about $400,000 worth of tropical birds. So I did that for a while. I never really made any money in it. The bed and breakfast wasn't doing shit. I mean, I'm still married to the wife that I left down there 20 years ago. And I just said, I got to get the fuck out of this place. I didn't like it. So I took off and moved to Chicago, but I still had quite a bit of money left, so I didn't depend on an income right away. And I left. I started another detective agency in Chicago. She kept running the bed and breakfast. That property actually we got offered $4 million for it right before the market crashed. She didn't want to move. The economy tanked. That place went down to $650. Now I've been gone all these years, and now it's back up to about, it just appraised for like 4.3 million. Now that's the good news. The bad news is I don't take any money from it, and I haven't put any money into it in a long time. And my wife's mother is 95 and still drives. So I've got a sneaking suspicion that I'm going to never see a dime from that place. But it just goes to show you the cycle of the money that was around, how it all disappeared. It was around a little bit for a while, and now it's all gone again. I tell people all the time, I'm glad I'm not starting out. No, I never ran it. When I left, we didn't have any customers, none. So that's why I never pushed selling it, because she did an excellent job with it. And on one hand, it would have never been built without my money. On the other hand, it would have never made it without her management. So it all depends on how you look at it. She actually still works as a full-time therapist down there. And I'm up here fucking around, still talking about getting another detective agency together. But Florida, I met a lot of people as I was down there. All the money comes from someplace else. New York, Canada, Europe, Brazil. Nobody pays anything down there. Yeah, St. Augustine's good. What I had going for me early on was that there wasn't much competition. There weren't any bed and breakfasts out there in Wellington. Where you go to St. Augustine, that's the oldest city in the country, and there's a bed and breakfast on every block. That'd be too competitive for me, which would drive the prices down. I'm not kidding you, man. You were born there, and you probably think I've got a shitty attitude about Florida, and I do. I hate that place. But for someone that grew up there, you probably think much different of it than I do. But it's hard to make any money. It's great. In the wintertime, it's like fantastic, other than the traffic. What do you do there, Michael? Yeah, they're not in places like where I live, but you probably go crazy where I live, West Branch, Michigan. Oh, okay. Now, is the owner making a killing? I knew a I know a guy that had 3 of those in Ann Arbor, Michigan, back in the late 70s, and he lost his damn ass. It just didn't fly up there in Michigan. Oh, okay. Really makes a killing though, huh? Yeah, there's some of the. How does he do in the summer months? I mean, that's enough of a tourist town. It probably does pretty well. You know, Michael, if you ever look at the data, there is actually more tourism in the summer than there is in the winter. It just doesn't seem like that when you're driving up those roads. Yeah, do that, man. Check out West Branch, Michigan. You can come up here and visit and see if you like it. Be a good vacation for you anyway. It's an hour from Traverse City, 45 minutes from Lake Huron, 2 hours from the Mackinac Bridge, and 2 hours and a half to Mackinac Island. Yeah, you're welcome to come up here. I got a spare bedroom. Just come and go as you please. You fly into Detroit though. It's much cheaper, and rent a car for a week. They'll burn you for a day or two, but a week's pretty cheap. Then just drive up here, spend the night, go over to Traverse City, drive up along the coast, go to Mackinac Island, Mackinac City. It's a vacation area where I live. It's summer only. Yeah, man. My email is Tom Reed, TomReed, 1956 at gmail.com. I tell anybody that comes on here and chats, you're welcome to come up here, stay as long as you want, whenever you want. Just come and go as you please. The only thing I ask is that I don't be your tour guide. God, I hate that. Yeah, take Mark. Mark's an expert on Detroit. Mark, you ought to come up here as well. I tell everybody that comes on here regularly, come on up and visit. Yeah, well, I'll give it to you right now. Yeah, Jeremy, come on up here, man. You guys should, man. I mean, I'm always kind of weird about staying at somebody's house. You know, I just never really liked it, but other people don't mind, and you know, people can come and go as they want. It's fine with me. Yeah, Mark, anytime. You can even come up here when I'm gone. Yeah, Rick, no problem. You come up here too, man. I mean, I just live in like a regular condo. It's no big deal. Yeah, you too, Mark. Anytime. Really, anybody that wants to do it's fine, man. I don't think it's. I'd be glad to have you, but I won't be hanging around with you much. I got like my own routine. Get up, go to Tim Hortons, read the paper, fuck around, get lunch, dick around with this goddamn detective agency bullshit, go out to eat, fuck around YouTube, watch about a half hour of porn, drink an aged beer in a bourbon barrel, watch TV for an hour, watch another half hour of porn, and then start it all up the next morning. Jeremy, what kind of family business is that? Oh, I take my dog for a half hour walk every day too. Those videos I take are from the golf course behind me or from some state trails about 5 miles away. No shit, that's my life, man. But you know what? I'm fine with it. Jeremy, what kind of business is that they have? Hey, I've got one that's going to cheer everybody up. This is going to be a damn story you'll wish you paid me for. It's going to make everyone feel better. You know, it's the gawkers that go by the accidents. And I've read where psychologists have said that part of the intrigue in that is that you drive by and you witness someone that's in a very bad position, worse than yours. Oh, woodworking. All right, cabinet doors. So let me tell you this. This is 100% accurate and true. So I told you my parents were a couple deadbeats. My dad was a drunk. My mom worked in a drugstore, but forget about that, right? Lots of people had shit like that happen. I'm not saying it was all bad. But my sister was 16 years older than I am. And her husband got shot accidentally by a buddy of his when they were fucking around with guns. And she was a young mother, about 23, 24 years old. Had my nephew. Now, my nephew is only 6 years younger than I am. So she worked as a telephone operator and bullshit. And at the time, the government started promoting single females and minorities. So she went to Eastern Michigan University, the same place I did. She didn't graduate till she was 30. And, my nephew was growing up. So she worked for the telephone company and finally decided she wanted to be self-employed. And she started sending applications for franchises. And the first one she sent was to McDonald's. And it was just perfect timing. McDonald's didn't have any black or single female owner operators. So what they did is they lined her up with the SBA. The SBA, people knew about it then, but it was just getting off the ground for small businesses. They had a shitload of money. The economy was good, and they financed her first store. It was where I'm living now, West Branch, exit 212. She got her first store. It was just an ass kicker. They were doing $1,000 an hour, $1,000 hours back in 1978. Just packed, jammed right off the expressway. Then she built a second one in Standish. Another ass kicker. It was all the traffic that went up 23. Then she built another one in Pinconning. Another ass kicker. Not quite as good, but you printed money. Then she built one in Eau Gray. Never made a goddamn dime for 20 years. She had two in Houghton Lake, Michigan. Never made a goddamn dime. When you have a McDonald's, you better have high volume stores or you just basically bought yourself a job. So my nephew was totally spoiled, never worked a day in his life, didn't get married till he was about 35, ended up having 9 kids. None of them were educated. They claim they homeschooled them, but they never went to school. They got kicked out of McDonald's because of him. They had so much debt when the McDonald's were sold that it was used to pay off bills. He tried opening up a Sky Zone down in Orlando, Florida. For whatever reason, it didn't happen. He's trying to open up another one now. It's not going to happen. He made $500,000 a year, at least for the last 20 years. He's got 9 kids that is completely broke. My sister's completely broke because she used all her money to help him. And she's living now on a $3,000 a month Social Security check, but she refinanced her home to help him. They're both broke. And that's after owning 3 ass kicker McDonald's franchises for over 35 years. So the message here is be careful what you wish for. I say all the time, if he'd have been born to, if she'd have kept working regular jobs, he'd be doing much better now. Yeah, I don't like that either. Jeremy, what kind of disabilities does your son have? I have a buddy of mine who has an autistic child, and I babysit him from time to time. Yeah, the only people that didn't have debt are the only ones that survived this economy. Oh, okay. Well, you're welcome to always bring him as well. Yeah, it's good. Good, that's good. He can get some kind of aid with that hearing loss, can he? Oh, that's good. Good. Congratulations on that. I have a good friend of mine. She has a niece that has seizures, and it's been kind of a problem, although she's doing a lot better. Oh, yeah, you're welcome, Jeremy. Are you in a camper in a parking lot? Who? Me? Are you asking me, Jeremy? No, that's actually my condominium, and that faces the back of a Walgreens and a strip mall, and across the street is restaurants and some other bullshit. It looks like that though, doesn't it? And the back behind me, the back of my condo faces a golf course. I guess you could say the back's a better view, but it's not really. Yeah, it's all right, Jerry. No problem. A lot of people don't. Don't blame them. Now, I have the same view all the time. I don't want to have a camera facing my face all the time. Stupid. So this is basically just a chat, and I got the camera so I had the microphone. So the camera faces outside while I sit at my desk and talk. It's kind of cool when we get a real bitch of a snowstorm. I'll probably sign it off pretty soon. Tired tonight. Which website's that? The detective website? You talking about the investigator website? Good night, Mango Shine. Hey, Michael, what's going on? Yeah, I am. I just got it back. Put a starter on it. Yeah, I'll check that out, Rick. Thanks. Alfie Sissons. This is a chat going on with a stationary camera in West Branch, Michigan. Keep up with the conversation. We just talk about different things, Detroit mainly. Oh, Ireland. Well, I'm at least half Irish. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. It's highly specialized training. Buy a good camera, plug it in, charge the battery, drive down to a big city and push the button. IFA. Oh, how did I say? Oh, IFA. Thank you. Well, welcome. Yeah, you're not kidding. Yeah, I took a wild shot. I'm sure IFA goes through this regularly. Now, IFA, is that Irish? All right. How long have you lived in Ireland? And where did you move from in Canada? Oh, okay. Oh, wow. I was watching a TV show and it said that's where all the fentanyl gets smuggled into the United States through Vancouver. Hey, do you have a problem with fentanyl in Ireland? Overdoses? Oh, wow. Now, Aoife, when you read about it or you listen to documentaries or TV shows, where do they claim the fentanyl is coming from that ends up in Ireland? No, I never heard of crocodile. China, yeah. Good night, Jeremy. Keep in touch. No kidding, huh? I was watching. You probably don't. We have a pretty good show over here. It comes on Mondays. It's called American Greed. I was watching a documentary about, I think it was called the Silk Rose or the Silk something, the guy that started that online, basically drug house. It's pretty interesting. Oh, wow. Crocodile. Shit, I don't want any of that. Who in the hell would voluntarily shoot themselves up with that? I'm telling you, man, I thought heroin was the scourge of the world, but looks like other things are taking over. How could the world be so fucked up that people in all parts of it? Yeah, Silk Road. Yep, that's it. I saw it on American Greed. I'll tell you what I did after that. I've seen Wired magazine before, and I never paid any attention to it. I thought it was just some computer bullshit. You know, you look at magazines now, they don't interest me, most of them. So I'm watching these guys on this American Greed, and they're all smart guys. And they're talking about this, and they've, interviewed this guy and that guy. So I thought, shit, I'm going to subscribe to this Wired magazine. So I Googled it. So I subscribed to Wired magazine. These guys are sharp, man. They talk about a lot of cool shit. $5 for a year. Print and internet access. Wired magazine. Excellent. $5. Good night, Ava. Appreciate you coming on. Come back. Silk Road, yep. I'm going to watch those crocodile videos. Appreciate you coming on. Make sure you get back on here when you can. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to Google this crocodile stuff. God damn it. Another damn drug fucking the world up. Okay, thank you. It's my Irish relative over there. Wear your sunblock. Shit. No, I think I'm gonna go to bed. Try to get to bed early. Usually I stay up too late. I want to Google that crocodile real quick though. You guys want to stay on and chat? I'll leave it on if you want. Hey Deb, how are you? Boy, it's quiet there tonight. Church mouse. I'm gonna check that flock out. I'm really behind in the drug trade nomenclature. I never heard of flocka. World's crazy. You know, I've read a lot of books on religion and philosophy, a lot of books on everything, really. I think I got attention deficit disorder, but it hasn't affected me in the way that I just couldn't get anything done. It's true, I do have a problem with it, but it's also allowed me to read a bunch of shit that I wouldn't have read otherwise. Now, I don't finish everything I read, but it's still more than I would have finished if I didn't start it. Tired of all these people knocking this ADD. It's not all bad. If I read half of 500 books, okay, and they read all of 250, who wins? Florida man. Oh yeah, hey Rick, I know that Florida. I swear to God, I feel like I'm gonna pass out when I even hear the word Florida. I hate that fucking place with a passion. It's like, well, what did Florida do to you? Well, you know, nothing really. Yeah, it was me that brought me down there. Florida didn't kidnap me. But my whole time down there was a bad experience. Other than the wildlife, I hope I never go back. Every scumbag in the world, not that grew up there, but from other states, somehow, some way ends up in Florida. Bath salts, designer drugs, hell of a business, probably. God's waiting room. Yeah, no shit, man. I'll never forget that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll check that out. Hey, did you guys see that Florida project that came out in the spring? Boy, that sums it up just perfect. And they couldn't have filmed it in a better place. Kissimmee, Florida. Yeah, I like going down to the Keys. You know, for a while I was getting a round trip ticket, like 138 bucks round trip from Flint to Key West. If you've ever tried flying down there, it's a total scam. You'll need to fly to Miami first for 50 cents and then to Key West or Miami for $4,000. But that was at ATA. Now you basically have to go into Miami or Fort Lauderdale and drive down there, which sucks because, you know, they have the speed restricted because of those key deer. I like going down there. I look at Key West like Mackinac Island. I could take it for about 2 or 3 days. I like Key West because you can get that seafood in those carts. You can go get fucked up, sit at the bar, stumble home, not worry about get a drunk driving ticket. It's just like super tropical Florida, what you'd expect. I'm not a beach guy. Their beaches are shit anyway. So I do like it. I'd rather be there than Miami or Fort Lauderdale or Orlando any day. It's like a cult following of people that end up there. I was talking to a lady a couple months ago. She said the billionaires are pushing out the millionaires. You know what I would like to do, crazy as it sounds? I'd like to experiment a hurricane and just wait it out down there. Yeah, it's a part of it, Mark. But, you know, I'd like to say that, yeah, you know, you're right. They prey on the elderly. I think that's a small part of it. I think the elderly get preyed on. That's true. But that's not why I think that place sucks. I don't like it's just everything, man. It wasn't really bad to me. But if you took me in a plane and you took, you know, I've had chances to fly down there with buddies of mine just for a day or two. I don't want to do it. I don't give a shit if I got snow up to my balls. I do not want to go to Florida. Now I would go to Key West. And I may take a kid that, you know, was underprivileged to Disneyland or something like that. But other than that, no way. I think if I ever ended up with money again and ended up in one of those Florida condos, I'd probably get on fentanyl because I'd be half nuts. Yeah, you're lucky, Mark. Sucks. Honestly, I like the winter more than the summer. I'd rather be in Anchorage, Alaska than Florida Christmas Eve. No way. Fuck that place. Man, Mark, don't ever say you're not lucky. Yeah, yep. I just don't want to go to that warm stuff. I don't want to go to any of the places down there.
All right, my name is Tom Reed, and it's Sunday the 13th.
I got some fucker posting nasty messages on here. Block his dumbass. You wouldn't believe some of these pricks that I block on here, man. I block at least 5 guys a day saying nasty comments. You know, I don't really mind if a guy gets on there and tells me, get fucked, my songs suck, you know, my videos are bullshit. Yeah, that's okay, you know, because I don't mind criticism. Oh, fuck. God damn it. Hello? I'm watching porn. Yeah. Yeah, how's she doing there? Was she excited about being there? Yeah, not really. What do you mean by that? Why? Oh, you think so? Yeah, but I know she likes visiting you and stuff. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Oh, good. No. Yeah, yeah, she's a funny dog. Yeah. I know it. Did she beg for anything? Yeah, she is demanding. Yeah, I know it. Same one I am. Were the roads slippery going back? Yeah, it's snowing here, but not, yeah, not much though. Yeah, right, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I know. It's when it, because the air dry, that doesn't help, you know. Well, good. Great. Yeah. Yeah, I'm watching YouTube videos. Yeah. Yeah, just like random stuff. Thanks a lot. Everybody. All right, good night, Mark. Well, I guess I'm gonna go watch the news. So have a good night, you guys. Great being on here. Man, the time flies when I'm on here talking to you. It's fun. I hate talking on the phone, but I'll get on here and knock out a couple hours like it's nothing. So hope everybody has a good day tomorrow. And I'll be on here all week. Good night, Rick. Thanks a lot, you guys. And I'll talk to you in a night or two. I'm gonna look up that crocodile and that other stuff. World's nuts.